Thanks so much, folks. You may know that my professional training was as a scientist, and I worked in that capacity at several stops in my career. I managed an environmental testing laboratory in Minnesota. I did consulting work for water and wastewater utilities. I managed the laboratory at the Des Moines Water Works. I worked as an environmental scientist at the Environmental Soybean Association, and finally as a research scientist at the Hydraulics Laboratory at the University of Iowa. Some of those work experiences have come in handy to me these past several months in my campaign for Secretary of Agriculture, but I also must tell you that it's clear to me now why there aren't many scientists in politics. Of course, one of the most famous scientists was Isaac Newton, and he invented calculus, which is pretty impressive. But in 1687, he also proposed that gravity is a universal invisible force of attraction existing between all matter. As legend has it, Newton never thought about gravity until he was sitting under an apple tree. The apple fell down and hit him in the head, and created some awareness within his mind. Thus, I think it is with our body politic and water quality. Most have seen it as a second or third tier issue, if indeed an issue at all, until the rotten apple of Iowa's second highest and soon to be highest cancer rate fell upon their heads. Scientists have known about the associations between large-scale agriculture and negative human health consequences for decades, but leaders in industry and government have refused to take notice. If Iowa does indeed have a cancer crisis, shouldn't we as Democrats demand our leaders treat it as a crisis? We sure as hell know Republicans won't. I retired 3 years ago, and I imagined winding my days away in my fishing boat and in my garden and trying to write another book. And so I come to politics not with career aspirations, but out of a sense of duty, because I believe the degraded quality of life and human health consequences of large-scale agriculture is the issue of our time in Iowa. Nitrate removal facility, of which you're drinking water from today, was installed in 1992, 2 generations ago. When I worked at Des Moines Water Works, of a morning I would walk from the laboratory over to the pumping station to discuss with my boss the condition of the rivers on that day. My boss at the time was Ted Corrigan, who just retired a few months ago as general manager, and you may have heard about him. When the rivers were gross and muddy and full of nitrate, as they often were, Ted would ask me, "Where's the outrage?" And I would say, "Yeah, where's the outrage?" And I usually insert a salty adjective in that sentence when I reply. And folks, I'm here to tell you today that the outrage has arrived. Made in the 1990s on soil erosion, thanks to a law. What a concept, right? That law being conservation compliance in the 1985 Farm Bill. Water monitoring data shows us that nothing has really happened on nitrate pollution for the past 50 years. Largely because we have no laws on the pollution. If I'm elected Secretary of Agriculture, I'm going to work to get those 50 years back. And I'm going to work to make those 50 years happen in 4 years. We lost control of our agriculture and corporate agribusiness in the federal government in the 1980s and 1990s. And Since then, the mantra has been bushels or bust. Today, for farmers, city dwellers, and rural Iowa, that's become bushels and bust. Consolidation in the livestock industry has brought us 25 million hogs, along with the untreated waste equivalent to 168 million people. Farmers lose money, we get sick, Republicans blame it on peace, and corporate agribusiness skates off with money after fouling our air, water, and soil. You might wonder where our current Secretary of Agriculture, Mike Neg, stands on all this. The truth is, we don't have a Secretary of Agriculture. We have a Secretary of Agribusiness. Iowa needs a Secretary of Agriculture that works for beneficial outcomes for all Iowans. Trump trade policies in the Iran war hurt Iowa and Iowa farmers. DOGE eviscerates USDA, preventing it from delivering conservation and other programs. Trump cancels billions of dollars of local food programs, and Neg still has the hubris to try to run on these local food programs. Does Neg stand up to Trump and defend Iowa and its farmers? Hell no. Hell no. How do we achieve better water, a more prosperous rural Iowa, and improve the quality of life for all Iowans? I'm trying to remember that. We cannot get the beneficial outcomes we want with only 2 species of plants on 70% of our land. Need diverse farms growing crops like oats and other small grains. For our largest restaurant, which is our public school system, we need farmers growing fruits and vegetable crops and raising livestock humanely and sustainably. We've given gas stations $70 million. The state has given gas stations $70 million to put in pumps for ethanol. But yet our legislature gives local food programs $200,000 last year. You know, how do you figure that? We need to return cattle to pasture along with a significant number of our hogs and poultry. We watch western rivers like the Colorado River dry up from irrigating alfalfa when we could grow it here unirrigated. Let's work to bring back the 800 small-scale meat processors we've lost over the last 60 years. Those are jobs for rural Iowa, okay? Those are jobs for rural Iowa that are better and more long-lasting than data center jobs. Let's bring back small-scale livestock production so we can enable farmers to be farmers again. We know Iowa farmers can do this profitably. I talk to some of them nearly every week. Some or many farmers will prefer to stay in the fast lane of corn, soy, cattle, and ethanol. That's great. But this metropolitan area of 600,000 people goes through its second straight summer of restricted water use, having no speed limits on that fast lane is no longer a credible position. We cannot continue to give the industry license to do whatever they want with fertilizer and other inputs, and then ask taxpayers to mitigate the pollution. It's perverse that we do this. Many say that what I am proposing is going backward, and that agriculture and society don't like to go backward. Now that we've hollowed out our small towns to a shell of their former selves, now that we see our young people flee to distant cities and states, now that we see our loved ones die not of old age but pollution-induced cancer, what does going forward from this look like? Because here's what I think it looks like. I think it looks like robotic tractors and AI farming 10,000-acre plots owned by billionaires and hedge funds. Is that the rural Iowa that we want? It's not the one I want, and it's not the one that people I know want. It's within our power to create the sort of change that I speak of. The solutions are not mysterious. While ongoing research and monitoring are always good and necessary, we don't need more of it to act now. If we can create policies that reduce known risks now, then we should work now to create such policies. We don't lack for solutions, what we lack is the political courage to enable them. There are only 12 states that elect a Secretary of Agriculture. All 12 are presently Republicans. Come January 3rd, Iowa is going to show America something different. From the heart of American agriculture, we're going to change American agriculture. From a system designed to enrich a few to one that's designed to benefit the many. Thank you for coming today. Thanks for your generous applause. Chris Jones for Iowa.com. Please join our family.